receive a lighting of the lamp.
Media.
Thank you, sir. I would now like to request the Relief Commissioner and Secretary from Ministry to offer Qatar and bookings to the Honorable Chief Minister, sir. Honorable Minister, sir, our distinguished guests from NDMA, and to the Chief Secretary to the Government of Sikkim. Thank you, sir. Honorable Chief Minister, sir, Government of Sikkim. Honorable Minister, sir, Land Revenue and Disaster Management Department, Government of Sikkim. Member Secretary, NDMA. Members, NDMA. Joint Secretary, Policy and Plan, NDMA. Joint Secretary, Disaster Management, Ministry of Home Affairs. Joint Secretary, Donor. Chief Secretary to the Government of Sikkim. Executive Vice Chairman, SDMA. Executive Director, NITL. RC Secretary, Government of Sikkim, senior officials from NDMA, NDRF and other central agencies, senior officers of our state administration, our delegates from the 12 Himalayan States, our special guests from West Bengal, representative IC Mode, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning to all. On behalf of Sikkim State Disaster Management Authority, it is my honor and privilege to welcome you all to the second regional conclave of SDMAs for Himalayan States, being organized by the Sikkim SDMA in collaboration with NDMA. The first such conclave was organized at Chennai by the Government of Tamil Nadu on 8th and 9th March 2022 for 11 states of coastal areas. The organization of such conclaves provides states and union territories facing similar kinds of hazards and vulnerabilities a platform to share their best practices, lessons learned, and to discuss other issues pertaining to disaster management, thereby building capacities at state and local level, and hence leading to effective disaster reduction and management of disasters. This results in enhanced capacities of states, cross-learning between SDMAs, and strengthening of SDMA-NDMA partnership. With these words, I would now like to request the Joint Secretary, Sir, NDMA, to kindly give the opening address.
So very good morning to all the dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. On behalf of the Member Secretary, all the members, all the officers of National Disaster Management Authority, of the National Disaster Response Force, of the National Institute of Disaster Management, I take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Chief Minister of Sikkim, Honorable Revenue Minister, who is looking at land resources, the Chief Secretary, Government of Sikkim, the Principal Secretary of the Department concerned, and the Executive Vice Chairman of the Sikkim Disaster Management Authority, V.K. Sharma Sir. I also welcome all the officers and officials of the 13 states now. So West Bengal is not a special invitee. West Bengal has mountains. So this is a conclave of 13 states, 4 from the Western Himalayas, 7 northeast states, and Sikkim and West Bengal. So it is making 13 Himalayan and northeastern states. So I welcome all the senior officers, officials, project managers, consultants who have come from all the 13 states, travel long distance. There's an equivalent number of institutions and organizations in this August hall. If I read the list, it looks very impressive. It has everything to do with the mountains, including IC mode. Then we have the Geological Survey of India, the IMD department and the Meteorological department, the NESAC, World Space Application Center for the Northeast. We have the CDRI, Coalition of Disaster Resilient Infrastructure. We have Ministry of Donor, represented by the Joint Secretary. We have the Ministry of Home Affairs, the Central Water Commission, the DGRE, which looks at avalanche and mountain hazards, the NEHU University. We have the Indian Institute of Remote Sensing coming from Dehradun for Western Himalayas. We have similarly GBPAD Institute of Himalayan Environment and Development. So almost 13 states and 13 institutions sitting in the same hall. It's a great day for all of us. I think I also thank the Honorable Chief Minister for readily showing his consent to be the chief guest of this function and inaugurate this regional conclave. As stated earlier, this is the second regional conclave focused basically on the mountain issues and the mountain states. And it is great to come back to Sikkim again. I was telling the Honorable Chief Minister, this is the third visit to Sikkim. So apart from looking at all the other states could be looked at by mind. I think mountains look to be looked at by the heart. So your heart is in the mountains, being born in the capital of Himachal Pradesh. So it's always great to come to the mountains. But having said that, this conclave would also give a great opportunity to share all the thoughts between the State Disaster Management Authority. It would be a great day when the Ladakh SDMA and the JNK SDMA shares thoughts with the Nagaland and Tripura SDMA or the Arunachal Pradesh SDMA. So the idea is sharing of what they are doing better or best in their own states and union territories, and sharing and learning from each other. So the main purpose of the Mountain Regional Conclave is to learn from each other. We from Government of India and various institutions in the Government of India have also come as a learner. The idea in the conclave is to listen to, not preach, not give long presentations about what we are doing in the various institutions, whether it is GSI or WADIA. The idea is to actually look at what the SDMAs are doing and try to figure out what their research and development and technology innovation could be helping the SDMA. So we also have, including NDRF and NIDM, AD and NIDM is here. So we all come as a learner. It is a good time to have 1.5 days to look at the crucial issues affecting the mountains and start looking at what possible solutions could be there. So I welcome all of you. I will not take a long chance, but I always say when we floated the idea of a Himalayan conclave, Sikkim was the first one to voluntarily come forward, led by the Troika. I call it the Troika, Honorable CM I mentioned before, Anil, Prabhakar and Rajiv. So they, and led by V.K. Sharma Sir, they came to Delhi with the Honorable Minister. I think the Minister was the first one to come to NDM, and they told, we want to do this conclave. So it has been, on behalf of everybody present here, all these states and all the institutions, I think we can give a round of applause to the State of Sikkim for taking this opportunity, helping NDM, helping all of us on the cause of climate change adaptation and DRR and disaster management. So that's what I thought I'd share at the opening remarks. I thanks to the Troika and thanks to the Honorable CM for taking the initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your detailed and informative opening address. I would now like to request the Relief Commissioner, Home Secretary, Land Revenue to kindly give the welcome address.
Honorable Chief Minister of PS Tamang, Honorable Minister Land Revenue and Disaster Management, Aditya, esteemed members and officers from NDMA, MHA and donor, Vice Chairman, SDMA, Professor B.K. Sharma, esteemed members of State Executive Committee, delegates from Northeast and Mountain States of the country, delegates from various institutions. I'm told there are 13 institutions present and 13 states also. Chief Secretary Sir and DGP Sir and colleagues from various line departments, friends from print and electronic media, ladies and gentlemen. It is my proud privilege to welcome Honorable Chief Minister of Sikkim, Sri PS Tamang, to the inaugural session of the second regional conclave for SDMAs of Northeast and East states. Sir, you have always been very concerned about occurrence of disasters in the state, as is evident from a prompt visits to all the landslides that occur in the state. You have been a source of inspiration for us. I would also like to welcome Sri Ken Lepcha, Honorable Minister Land Revenue and Disaster Management, to this conclave. Sir, you have also always guided us in the disaster management and mitigation strategies. It is my bounden duty to welcome all officials and esteemed members of NDMA, MHA and donor, led by Sri Kamal Kishore, Member Secretary. A warm welcome to all the delegates from Northeast and Mountain States and also from various institutions of the country and abroad. I also welcome the Chief Secretary Government of Sikkim, Sri V.V. Pathak, DGP Sir and colleagues from line departments. Special welcome to friends from the print and electronic media who have always been supportive to us. Sikkim, which lies in the foothills of the eastern Himalayas, has a fragile geomorphologic setting and multi-hazard-prone state, severely affected by earthquake, landslides, forest fires and flash floods. The impacts of climate change have resulted in aggravation of climate-induced disasters like forest fires, glacial lake outbursts and landslides. Considering the importance and vulnerability of massive disasters in the Himalayan States, the SDMA, in collaboration with the NDMA, has organized this 2 days regional conclave on challenges of disaster risk reduction in hill areas. The objective of the workshop is to bring all stakeholders, when I mean stakeholders, consisting of scientific, government, civil society and communities together to strengthen the capacities of the states and regional authorities on climate-related disaster risk resilience. The aim is also to come up with a set of actionable recommendations, keeping science, policy and institutional capacity at the center to reduce impact of climate change-related disasters. It is fortunate for me to mention the emerging issues in disaster risk governance, which are as follows. Disaster risk governance approaches should become more disaster risk reduction centric rather than the present response and relief centric. The focus of risk governance should be at the grassroots level with bottom-up approach, where the voice of the marginalized society should be heard. Mainstreaming disaster risk reduction into planning process should be expedited, not as an added policy. I repeat, not as an added policy, but as a way of integration with ongoing works. There are many examples of good development practices that can contribute to disaster risk reduction. This should be encouraged by all. The State Disaster Management Authority has been regularly conducting mass awareness and sensitization programs, training and capacity building, disaster management plans, mock exercises, mitigation strategies, response and relief operations. We are also implementing school safety in the state to build a culture of safety and preparedness among children. Programs like Aapta Mitra have greatly benefited the youth to volunteer to be a part of the disaster management response activities. 500 volunteers have been trained in basic disaster response in an intensive training program spanning 12 days. I am proud to say that Sikkim is among the first states in the country to complete the training in stipulated time frame. In fact, I want to mention this to the NDMA that we intend to train more Aapta Mitras in the coming days. The state-of-the-art mitigation project at Mangan landslide is achieving completion. The last 2 monsoon cycles observations have been very encouraging. The state-of-the-art technology used has stopped the downward movement of the slope. We will soon hold a workshop to present the findings with the experts in the field of landslide management. Post-2011 Sikkim earthquake, the state has been focusing on preparedness. India's nationally determined contributions to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change also reiterates the importance of linking disaster risk reduction, adaptation, and lays emphasis on an urgent need to finance to undertake activities for early warning systems, disaster risk reduction, loss and damage, and capacity building at all levels. The Sendai framework, much talked about for disaster risk reduction, which is considered the global blueprint for disaster risk reduction, offers a solution to saving lives, livelihoods, global assets, and is in conformity with 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development as well as the 2016 Paris Agreement on Climate Change. While the level of disaster risk exposure can be reduced by regional and urban planning, the resilience of a society depends on physical, social, and economic factors that are focal to sustainable development strategies. Early interventions can definitely help save lives, mitigate sufferings, and significantly lower the cost of responding to the humanitarian consequences of shocks. With forecasting and communication of early warning systems improving over the years, work has now advanced on translating early warning into early actions. It is pertinent for me to place on record the constant support and encouragement that we have received from the National Disaster Management Authority. We are fortunate that we have a local guardian in Delhi who is always taking care of our needs. The challenges for a tiny Himalayan state like ours are manifold, and some of them are very unique. I must not miss the opportunity to place a few genuine requests before the NDMA and MHA for their kind consideration. Number one, it would benefit the state if the lower limit, if any, for mitigation works under SDMF is removed. This will enable us to take even smaller but very critical mitigation works under SDMF. The primary hazard in Sikkim is landslides and its other forms. I am sure that you all got a glimpse of it while traveling to Gangtok yesterday and day before. Some of you came day before. Therefore, SDMF's limit of 50% for a single hazard may kindly be increased, please. We would also be highly indebted if the NDRF, SDRF considers revising prevailing rates for infrastructure damage for hilly states, taking into consideration the very high cost of materials in the hilly states due to carriage